starting your journey to financial freedom. Now, you're listening to the New Investor Podcast.
This is the Young Investor for the New Investor Podcast, and it is day 49 on our journey towards financial freedom. As you can probably judge, what has started as a bad day on the stock markets yesterday, following the news from the White House on further tariffs on Chinese goods, ended up looking like any other regular day, with losses indeed, but not really should your investments remained unchanged since the beginning of the year. My portfolio lost 0.92% in value, hardly anything exceptional if your aim was to take advantage of that news to shop around for companies. The dip was simply not large enough for me to do that. However, when the markets opened, you could have easily gave in into your emotions and started following everybody with their sell-offs. I hope you have not, and if you did, I hope you have learned something new. The ideal attitude to adopt, however, is to never look at your investments until it is 2030 maybe. There is no need for you to do that if you're confident you have made the right moves in the first place. However, the real purpose for me, at least, if I keep looking at my investments every day, is to keep learning what affects the dynamics of the market and how these have an effect on my investments, how news or world events affect my investments in the short term, or any other stock for that matter that I am actually interested in or following. So I'm also training my mind to remain disciplined and walk my talk, a good self-development technique for me. So I look at my investments every day and for 2 hours before I go to sleep and forget about them until the morning, obviously, when I then pick up my phone and give it a last look for the day. I am not afraid of the markets melting overnight, as I have set my stop losses to doomsday mode, meaning that I set my losses to the level of risk I'm ready to accept should the financial crisis occurs while I am fast asleep. I live in Asia, just as a reminder, so my time zone is opposite to the one in New York. What is going through my mind these past few days is how I should have started my investing journey earlier. I will blame no one but myself, but I have been meaning to say since the beginning, actually, to all those listening and who have not yet started, that the longer you wait and the more regret you will build along the years. I wonder how many more pieces of content you need to consume on the subject before making your first steps. Which word or seminar or book or podcast or article or TV show will be the one that will change your life? Do you really need all that sound effect and visual effects and decor and glossy book covers or a renowned writer or top of the charts podcast to build up your confidence further to take action? I remind you, this is your own future. Why would the word start not be enough? So creating a podcast perfectly beautified to fit the consumer is by no means an intention here, and I do not know how to run such a show. The objective is to actually not entertain you, but to tell you the truth. There will be no ads, no courses, no group coaching session to sell you, just pure thoughts and documenting the experience from a young investor on his path to another. This podcast will grow organically for those who seek practical approaches to start investing, build wealth, and I will add gaining the right mindset to basically succeed in any aspects of your life. I document the day-to-day, and that will include the money, the worries, the challenges, the concerns that a young investor is actually going through, not words from a billionaire to a young crowd. The question I now ask myself is, why would I spend time doing that instead of simply focusing on the path? Because it is part of my own process and I am obsessed by it, not by the end game. It is getting me closer to my goal, as this podcast acts as my investor's conscience to keep walking the talk and stay disciplined, but deep inside, as a human, having a hope that it brings value to others as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts and to connect with you. You can do that by contacting me through the website thenewinvestorpod.com, thenewinvestorpod.com. Have a fantastic day ahead.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.